Over the years, we've seen institutions rise, adapt, and transform, but rarely do we get to witness a changing of the guard that promises both continuity and a bold new chapter. Governor Ebson Uanguta is no stranger to the Bank of Namibia or the broader financial ecosystem. From his early work as an economist to his tenure as deputy governor and now governor of the Bank of Namibia, his career has been shaped by a progression of leadership and technical roles. His experience also spans key institutions, including the International Monetary Fund, the Namibia Revenue Agency, and as acting managing director of NAMCOR. Governor Uanguta brings to the bank a depth of technical expertise, strong institutional memory, and a track record of steady leadership. He assumes this role with a firm command of policy, operations, and strategy, underpinned by a clear and forward-looking focus on Namibia's economic future. As Namibia enters a pivotal phase of economic transformation, his vision carries significant weight. His leadership will shape how we manage inflation, harness innovation, and safeguard the confidence Namibians place in our currency and as well as the banking and financial system. I'm your host, Naufiko Hamunime, and in this special edition of BONCAST, we sit down with the new governor of the Bank of Namibia, Mr. Ebson Uanguta, as we reflect on his first 100 days in office. In this conversation, we will unpack his outlook for the economy, explore his leadership philosophy, and discuss how he intends to steer the bank towards an inclusive and resilient future, one that is aligned with the opportunities and demands of the future. Governor, welcome to the BONCAST.
Thank you very much, Naufiko. Good morning, and I'm glad to be here in the Bond podcast.
Thank you so much, Governor. It's really a pleasure to have you. And so I think, Governor, for our first question, we'd like to start off with maybe something for the listeners who may not yet be familiar with your journey. Could you walk us through your professional path across the various sectors you've served in, and maybe also share with us some of the key learnings from those experiences that shape how you approach economic issues today?
Thank you very much, Naufiko, I think, for that broad question. And it is a question really that will also set the trend on what I'm going to say later. But before I fully address your question, I really want to take this time and thank Her Excellency, the President of our Republic, Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, for having given me the opportunity to serve as the governor of the Central Bank of Namibia. I'm really grateful for that, and also to the Namibian nation to have really given me that opportunity. Now, Naufiko, if I have to take you through my journey, it's a journey that started about more than 27 years ago when I started my professional life with an entity called Namibia Economic Policy Research Unit. Namibia Economic Policy Research Unit, it was a think tank, but it's no longer in existence. If I look at the history of NEPRU history is also dating back to the time of independence, and it was before it became NEPRU, it was NISA, Namibia Institute of Social Economic Research. It was an initiative that was initiated by the SWAPO party before they came to power to ensure that the country is really prepared to implement well-researched policy. And later on, it became NEPRU. So that's where I started my journey a couple of years back, and I started as a junior researcher. It was quite a humble beginning. And then from there, I moved to Bank of Namibia. From bank, I have stayed in the bank for all my professional life. But of course, I took break here and there. I first took a break. I went to the International Monetary Fund. I spent about 4 years there. And then I came back to the bank again. And then I took a break of about 6-7 months as well to set up the Namibian Revenue Authority. And then I came back, and then I took a break again of another 15 months to support and assist the Namibia Petroleum Company, NAMCOR. So that has essentially been my journey before I now assume this role as a governor of the central bank.
And I mean, that's quite an extensive journey, Governor. I'm sure there are lots of lessons that you've picked up along the way. Maybe if you could just highlight a few in terms of the economy, what have you really picked up as your career has spanned from NEPRU to IMF to NAMCO, NAMRA? What are the key lessons that you really picked up?
I think having started my professional life as a researcher generally, it gives you a mind of curiosity. It gives you a mind that needs to be active at any point in time, a mind that is analytical, a mind where you need to be open to issues and not make prejudgment on particular issues, a mind that is informed by data when you are making decision, not to make simply just decision the way you feel or how you see things prevailing, because the way we see things may not necessarily be how they are. And hence one have really to look deeper into any situation, analyze it, look at the data, and when the data speaks, you respect that. So that has almost been that has really shaped my thinking and also my decision making. For me not to prejudge, for me not to make presumptions, but to follow and listen and make decision based on proper analysis and also on sound data. That is essentially really what I have picked up in all this journey.
Excellent. And I think, Governor, you assumed this role on the 1st of January, 2026. And I'm sure, we're all very curious to just have a view of what your vision is for the Bank of Namibia, and also how you would want the institution to transform as we prepare for the new economy and new opportunities.
I must really say that this bank is quite sound, and I must be thankful for all my predecessors, starting with the first governor in 1990 up to the last governor now in 2025. All the governors have really done an excellent job laying a very strong foundation. As we see the bank today, the bank is much more stronger than really many years back. Now, again, when you take over, you don't dismantle. You build on that strong foundation that your predecessor have laid. And that is my philosophy. So when I got into the office, my theme was very clear: marching with a clear purpose while aligning the central bank for the new economy. Now, if I have to unpack that, things are changing quite rapidly globally. Crises that used to take about 10 years before another crisis occur. These crises are almost occurring almost every 5 months. You see shocks in the economy. So the shocks has become more frequent. Technology and digitalization is also changing quite rapidly, and it's changing the way how we do business, not only in the entire economy, but also how the central bank function and how also we can properly execute our mandate. So clearly, that brings me to the question that how, as a central bank, it means that we really need to do things differently. You remember central bank used to be known as that black box. The black box is the one of the plane when there has been an incident of the plane crash. People are looking for the black box, trying to unpack that, what happened.
Yeah.
So in the past, central bank has not really been so much, they were just known for announcing monetary policy. But beyond that, people did not really understand. The language was also a bit complicated as well, very technical language. But as you could see, we have changed. The language that we are using now is more or less the normal day language, so that each and every person will be able to understand. Yeah. So 3 things that I will be positioning in that bigger theme. of marching with a clear purpose while aligning the central bank to the new economy. First, I want to make sure that for the next 5 years, the bank solidify its position as a knowledge-based institution. That's very critical. We must be an institution of reference in terms of knowledge, in terms of analysis, in terms of ensuring that we provide the sound policy advice. For us to be able to do so, the second pillar, we need to build capacity. That capacity is very critical. And my predecessors have really done well in laying that foundation of a strong capacity building. If you look around, I think in a number of institutions within the country, you will find a Bank of Namibia employee. And that is because of that foundation that was laid. And then finally, the third pillar is aligning the central bank to the new economy. Now, as the economy is changing, and we are also likely to see the new industry emerging, for instance, oil and gas, green hydrogen, etc. So there will be a significant shift in the structure of the economy. And hence, in that respect, we really need to make sure that the tools that are at our disposal as a central bank, the monetary policy tool, the liquidity monitoring and forecasting framework tools, they need to be resharpened so that at any point in time, we will be able to deal and execute our mandate of price stability effectively.
Yeah. And essentially be prepared for the future.
And be prepared for the future.
Exactly. Now, Governor, I really love that you spoke about, or you mentioned crisis, you mentioned shocks, and I think it's very, it speaks well to the current context that we find ourselves in. And so my next question is, Governor, when you were at the IMF, you were representing Namibia in a time where there was lots of global uncertainty. So I'd like to maybe just get a glimpse in terms of what perspectives did that experience give you in terms of managing macroeconomic shocks and risks, especially where the global economy currently finds itself?
So I joined the International Monetary Fund in January of 2007. And when I first into the first meeting of the board of the executive board of the IMF, the chief economist presented a gloomy economic forecast for the global economy. And that was essentially the beginning of the 2007-2008 global financial crisis. Now, in that first meeting, when the chief economist of the IMF presented those numbers, a lot of executive board members did not believe those numbers because they were looking at the past, how the economies used to perform, and they thought that the economies, both in America and Europe, they were so resilient, and those numbers are unreal. There is no way that America, Europe, and the rest of the world will be facing that gloomy picture. Because they were emphasizing on America is very resilient, and Europe is also resilient for that matter. The chief economist stood very firm on his number, and that was his last time in a board meeting. Wow. So what I have learned out of that picture is that sometimes as policymakers, we tend to be complacent. We tend to think that what was prevailing in the past will continue to prevail, and what we are experiencing now is just something like, it's just a speed bump.
Yeah, it's a blip.
It's just a blip, and we will be getting over it. And we were in for a high jump. You saw what happened during the global financial crisis. So essentially what I have really learned out of that first meeting is, as policymakers, at no point should we be complacent. We should listen, we should be open-minded, we should look at the future, of course look at the past where we are coming from, possibly consider some of the mistakes that were done, look at the future, and then be objective and listen to the noises or to those who are around us, warning us that, look at those red lights.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the lessons that I have really learned out of that. And I also work on quite a number of countries in our continent. I work for countries like Sudan. Sudan, by that time, they emerged and they were having a unity government between Southern Sudan and Northern Sudan. They had a very good arrangement in terms of having an oil revenue sharing formula. And that's also one thing that the lessons that I have really learned out of that process, that to have resources is not just a guarantee that development will start taking place. You may have abundance of resources, you may have money, but if that money is not properly utilized or is not well allocated and well directed, you are not going to see any development taking off. So I have picked up quite a number of lessons out of those engagements as well. I worked for countries like Liberia as well, Nigeria. In all those countries, when we were having policy engagement, I think those are engagement that have really imprinted a number of policies, intervention, and how things can be done, both on the real sector economy and also on the financial sector development and also monetary policy operation. Those are some of the things that have been imprinted in my mind. And as I have assumed my role in this office, those are the things that keep on coming and helping me, driving me, remembering the past, while also considering what is coming ahead in the future.
Wow. I mean, it's really very interesting to hear about. And I think one of the things that really strikes a lot of people, Governor, is that you have had so much experience, not only in the bank, but also, as we were just speaking to now, institutions such as the IMF, but also in driving key national institutions. And we spoke about your tenure at NAMRA and also NAMCO. And so, Governor, we just like to get a view of what insights did that experience, especially when you're operating in commercially driven state-owned entities, how has that influenced your perspective now that you are back at the Bank of Namibia?
So those 10 that I have made at those various institutions, those are memories that I will have for the rest of my life, because they have helped to shape my thinking, they have helped to shape my perspective and the way how I do things. When I went to NAMRA, NAMRA is an institution really that we have initiated. I remember the journey when we started the journey of NAMRA, how NAMRA started. It was a research paper, a fiscal position paper that we prepared in 2011. And we presented that paper as a bank to the Ministry of Finance. So we started now the discussion that time has come for Namibia to have an independent revenue authority. So that discussion took quite long. And I think it only saw the light of day around 2016 when we came to the consensus that, we need now to establish the independent revenue authority. For those who were very skeptical, it's true. I think they were skeptical for very good reasons, because there was a tendency of starting state-owned enterprises. And when you look at the number of state-owned enterprises, they were not really performing well. So that was really the debate why we took so long. But eventually, the decision was made for NAMRA to be established. And then later on in 2020, towards 2021, I was asked to go and be an acting commissioner for NAMRA. And my role was essentially just to lay the foundation for the creation of the new entity. So essentially operationalizing it. So my role was really to put policy framework in place and also to do the necessary recruitment, including the recruitment of the first commissioner and also the other executives as well. So I did that together with the board and also the minister. And That was an experience that I will forever cherish. It's an experience that gives you how to start from scratch, how to lay a foundation, how to begin with a startup. Then I later on, again, I went also to Namcor. Namcor situation was very much different from the situation of Nambra. Namcor, one came to hit the ground running because it's an institution that was fully operational and it needed a turnaround. I went to immerse myself in those challenges. Of course, when you come at an institutions where there are challenges, there you sometimes you will come out with mud as well, although you were not part of that process earlier. So, but we went, we navigated, we put a turnaround strategy, and eventually, I think in the subsequent year, with the reforms that were made, and also the confidence that we were projecting, that we are indeed a national oil company and we mean business. We won the confidence of the people, of the stakeholders, of other oil operators. They were trusting us. And eventually also the subsequent year, if you look at the financials, they were looking much better. Again, I think it is really something that I will also forever remember.
And I mean, Governor, those are two vastly different experiences. And the key thing I'm picking up really is for NAMRA being able to see this through from a position paper to the commissioner and eventually ensuring that that entire structure is set up and fully functional. And I think for NAMCOR, one of the benefits for us as a central bank is we now have a governor who has a full view, let's say an end-to-end view of what that oil and gas ecosystem looks like, which obviously can only benefit us.
You know, for things like that, those are opportunities that one should not boast about, but they are opportunities that one was just given, and one have really to be grateful for that. It's an opportunity that have really helped to shape your thinking, to shape your perspective, to shape your mind, to shape how you make decisions. And one have really to be grateful for those who have made it possible for one to have those kind of opportunities.
Yeah. And as we're speaking about, the oil and gas sector, I'd actually like to get a view, and I'm sure many people are quite curious, Governor, what your outlook is for the Namibian economy, where you see the biggest opportunities and maybe the biggest risks.
As an economy, I was just looking at the number that were released by the census, by a National Statistical Agency. Those numbers were showing that the Namibian population is the youthful population. Was showing that about 70% of the population are younger than 36 years. I think that in itself is something quite positive. Despite all other challenges that we are facing, challenges of unemployment, challenges of inequality, challenges of poverty, but when you have got the youthful population, it gives you a very good opportunity. And, in some other words, people say that when you have got such a youthful population, while other countries are facing aging population, you need to count yourself that you are in a very good space. So all what we need to do is simply just to prepare this young population. We train them well, we give them the right education, we give them the right skill set, we expose them, and that definitely will help us as a country to move forward. Similarly, also with the new economy that I was just talking about, that I have framed in my theme, the new economy of green hydrogen, the new economy of oil and gas, the new economy of digitalization. Again, these are ample opportunities that can really help to unlock growth and development for a country. When you talk of growth and development, you stimulate investment, and that investment will stimulate growth, and that growth will be able to bring the desired development for the nation. Through that employment creation, and you start addressing the number of social challenges that we are facing. Although we see these challenges, to me, from my perspective, these challenges is not that they are insurmountable. They are there, but with proper coordination, with proper focus, targeting the right policy intervention, looking at our resources, we allocate our resources to the right spots and to the right sectors. We should really be able, a few years down the line, to see the different Namibia. And also with the leadership that our president is really driving forcefully. Clearly, I have got confidence that we will see light at the end of the tunnel. And when I'm talking about light, is the light of ensuring that our economy starts growing fast. We start creating the desired employment, and then we start addressing a number of social deficits that our economy has been facing.
So definitely an optimistic outlook, and the opportunities at this point outweigh the risks or the challenges that we are currently facing.
The opportunities that are there, they are outweighing the challenges that I'm seeing. Because when challenges and we have got these opportunities, we have got the right leadership, we have got the commitment of the Namibian people, you have got the youthful population. All these things line up together and well coordinated.
Yeah.
We should be able to address and overcome those challenges.
That's very encouraging, I think, to hear from our chief economist, Governor. And I think coming back to the central bank and Bank of Namibia, earlier you made the point that central banks previously we used to operate as black boxes. No one really knows what's going on in the central bank. So I'd like to just get a sense, in your view, what does a credible modern and central bank, what does a credible modern central bank look like, especially in this area of digital disruption, global shocks, and also increased public scrutiny? What can we do as a central bank to make sure that we are an open institution, we are transparent, and that people know that the institution is here to serve them?
What I always remind people when it comes to the central bank, I tell people like the role of the central bank is very much different from the role of any other institution or any other banks. Sometimes people, they are confusing as being a commercial banks. We are not, because commercial banks, they have got products to sell. As a central bank, there is no product that we are selling. We have got nothing. The only thing that we are selling as a central bank, we sell trust and we sell confidence. Now, those are very kind of things that are intangible. And now when you are dealing with intangible things, these are things that are touching feelings. Because for someone to trust you, and you sell trust to them, and you sell confidence to them, there are certain things that you need to do. There are certain things that you need to portray for you to be trustable and for someone to have confidence in you. And already by the design, central bank being an entity that has been created by the Constitution, that is already the trust that the Namibian people have given to the central bank to perform certain functions. And now, that trust and confidence should not be taken for granted. Central bank has been given also operational independence. Sometimes people claim they want to be independent, but independence on its own is not sufficient. Independence must be fully accompanied by accountability. That's why us as a central bank, you have seen consistently over the last 36 years, we have been producing our annual report on the 31st of March, and we don't miss that. And that is part of that accountability. That is part of selling trust. That is part of showing confidence. Now, as we are doing that, of course, there is public scrutiny. And I like that public scrutiny. Now, one of the analysts looked into our financials, and this is what he said, that the Bank of Namibia have made significant losses in excess of 800 million. And people have been asking that, where is that money? Has the money disappeared? No. Members of the public, there is no money that has been lost at the central bank. Essentially, one person asked me that, tell me in a very simple terms, that is a loss, but you are telling me it's not a loss. What is it? I was just giving an example to say that, suppose you are a farmer, you have got about 5 goats in 2025, and an auctioneer or a valuer came to your kraal to value these 5 goats, and they were valued in 2025, that each goat is valued at 2,000. Now, because there are 5, then it means that they have got a value of about 10,000 altogether. Now, the next year, the same value will come. And the market has moved. There are still 5 goats. In 2026, the market has moved, but the price is no longer 2,000.
Come down.
The price has come down to 1,005, just as an example. Then it means that the total of that will no longer be at 10,000 or 2,000 per goat, but will be 1,500 per goat, but the goats are still 5, meaning to say that there is nothing that has been lost. Is the movement in the market that is simply just affecting that. So that's what I explained, and I hope that explanation, that person understood. That's what he told me. And I hope that with this, I'm also clarifying that.
And we can lay this to rest.
And we can lay that to rest.
And I mean, in the central bank's case, Governor, it's currency fluctuations. I'm not sure if you want to expand on it further, but I think the analogy is pretty clear. So we're just working with market dynamics, essentially.
You work with market dynamics. A lot of our assets are denominated in a foreign currency. Now, when the currency, in fact, when the Namibian dollar appreciates, clearly your earnings will fall. The appreciation of the currency, normally we feel like, wow, our economy is gaining strength and our economy and our currency is appreciating. It's a good sign. And it also helps to contain inflation when your currency is appreciating. But in terms of our earnings, if we have to convert that back, our earning becomes less.
Exactly.
So, but essentially, if I look at it, what is our mandate? Our mandate is price stability. Anything that helps to stabilize prices in the economy, I will first go for that.
Yeah.
Even if I will be losing some earnings, I will be very much preoccupied with my mandate, with the mandate of the central bank. And that is a mandate of ensuring price stability. Because when you have got price stability, you pass that benefit to the most vulnerable.
Of course.
And that is the biggest prize.
Thank you, Governor. I love that you highlighted the bank's key mandate of price and financial stability. And I think coming back to the annual report that was recently launched, we showed during that engagement that the bank has made significant policy and also operational advances in recent years. And this goes from modernizing our national payment system and also the forthcoming rollout of the instant payment program. So, Governor, I would like to know, how do you plan to sustain and also deepen the progress that the bank has already made whilst remaining firmly anchored in the bank's core mandate of price and financial stability?
As I mentioned earlier, that the world is changing quite rapidly. And one way how we can respond to that is also by moving with the technological changes, by moving with digitalization agenda. And also we need to make use of that digitalization agenda and the technology to be able also to advance our own people. Now, as a central bank, although our mandate is in price and financial stability, we are also very much preoccupied with an issue of financial inclusion because we know the importance of inclusion. when people are included, you give them a lifeline. You advance them. You uplift them. And that's why, as a central bank, we are busy now working on the implementation of the instant payment solution. The instant payment solution, we believe it's helping to modernize the financial system, the payment system, and then also at the same time is bringing people who have been previously financially excluded into the financial safety net. They will be able to do their transaction on this platform from the comfort of the places where they are. They don't need to be close to the bank for them to be able to transact. All what they need to have is a smartphone. Now, a lot of our people, and one should really be grateful, I think, for the government that has really done investment into that space. The mobile network connection and the penetration rate is in excess of 100%. So clearly it shows that more or less each and every person, most of the people have got cell phones. And that, through our instant payment solution, will really give us a great opportunity to be able to bring people who were previously excluded into the financial system, be able to transact, be able to access certain facilities previously that was inaccessible.
Yeah, access financial services at lower
access to
cost.
financial services, etc. And the cost will also be lowered. Because I remember people they get paid and then they need to now to take transport to the nearest shop or to the nearest place where they can exchange this money. But with an instant payment solution, I think it will really bring about quite a huge relief to the majority of our people, particularly those in the most vulnerable strata of the society.
Okay. And I think, Governor, what's exciting is that we are hoping this is just the beginning in terms of the transformation we're going to see in the economy.
That is just the beginning, and I think we will really continue to invest in those technology that are enabling our people to participate in greater opportunities that are offered within the countries and beyond as well.
Excellent. And so, Governor, we now need to wrap up. And I think April is significant for you. It marks the end of your first 100 days in office. And I think we're all very curious to know, Governor, what your key lessons have been during your 100 days in office and also the legacy you would like to leave behind at the Bank of Namibia.
So currently, I'm quite happy with my first 100 days. I have clearly put what are the things that I need to put in place. In my first days, there were very simple things that I needed to do. I put an objective that before the end of my 100 days, I should be able to meet each and every employee of the bank and greet them and say hi to them. And I did that.
You did that.
There is any employee of the bank who will claim that I have not met them and I have not greeted them.
And I can confirm he really did that.
I did that. So then what I did, the next thing is really to do consultation with all the key stakeholders. And I have done that partially, but there are still a couple of them where I need to do so. And then I also needed to meet a couple of sister central banks within the region. I did that as well. And we have agreed on a number of key deliverables, including on things that are key to our vision of being a knowledge-based institution, of building capacity. Soon, those agreements will be signed and we will start implementing them. So there are a couple of things really that we have really put in place, and I'm quite happy with the progress that we have made. And also one of the key things what one have really achieved during those 100 days, I believe in running the culture of the institution. As I was just talking about trust and confidence, these are the products that we sell. Now, when you sell those products, There are a lot of new people, young people that have joined the bank, and we have not really given them what the role of the central bank is telling them that the central bank is very much different from any other institution. And we have taken a couple of staff now through the Eagle School. The Eagle School is a school that is really aimed at transforming people, transforming the culture, and ensuring that people fully understand the central bank. The first cohorts have been taken. They graduated. We'll be taking the second cohorts during the month of September, 2 cohorts that will be taken. And then at least next year as well, a couple of others as well. So I believe that within 2 years, we should have taken every staff of the bank through the Eagle School.
Excellent.
And that is really the mindset that we want to use to drive the central bank and its future. Because central bank trust, confidence, and integrity are very key pillar and elements and values
I mean, Governor,
of running a central bank.
sounds like a very, very busy first 100 days. And I think the last part, just the legacy you want to leave behind.
The legacy that I want to leave behind, I want to leave Bank of Namibia in a better space, in a better spot, in terms of its positioning, in terms of its credibility, in terms of its knowledge, in terms of its people, in a better space than I found.
Wonderful. I think that is very clear for all of us and something that we're definitely looking forward to, Governor. With that, we have now come to the end of our BONCAST episode. Thank you so much, Governor, for your time, for sharing your insights, your vision, and your experience with us. And we're looking forward to having you back again soon.
Thank you, Naufiko. It was also a pleasure to have me here.
Thank you.
Thank you.